Hey everyone, I wanted to make a video to address some of the talking points that we're hearing about our current tentative agreement with the vote coming up. The main one that I wanted to talk about is we're hearing that the justification for the pay raise that we've been offered comes from what the UCP have determined to be fair market value. They've done this by looking across the country and trying to compare our healthcare professions, our scopes of practice, our job titles, trying to compare it to similar professions across the country to find out what they're being paid and then, or what kind of raises they're getting, and then trying to apply that same scale to us that say that this is what you deserve because this is what other people similar to you have been getting. My problem with this is that fair market value is only accurate when the market itself is fair. And we know that the market for healthcare workers in this country is not fair. The deck's been stacked against us for a long time. We know that healthcare worker wages have been getting suppressed. This happens because a lot of governments view healthcare through a capitalism lens. And when they look at healthcare, our labor doesn't produce profit. We're just an expense on a budget sheet. We're just a burden. And they've tried for decades and decades successfully to keep our wages low, to keep us underpaid. And they've been getting away with this because they know that we have a high moral attachment to our work. This means that we know our work is important. We care about the work that we do. We care about the patients that we take care of. And they've been taking advantage of this by forcing us to settle for mediocre wages. They've been using arguments like, oh, the economy's not great right now. We can't afford to give you guys pay raises. Or, oh, like, don't refuse this contract because then who's going to take care of the patients, right? We keep hearing these kinds of arguments that keep us coming back and settling and it's been going on for decades now to the point where we can't ignore it anymore. And the reason that I bring this up is because when we look across the country at the wages, we're comparing ourselves to wages that are suppressed. Think of it this way. If every healthcare worker in the country was making $40 an hour, then fair market value would technically be $40 an hour. But how is anyone ever supposed to break through that ceiling and get a raise when every time a healthcare worker is up for a raise, their employer just looks around the country and says, well, everyone's making the same as you. Why do you deserve a raise? This is fair market value. And what's going to end up happening is that they just start inching up. Someone gets a tiny raise of a 40, everybody else kind of comes up to catch up, and we all kind of hover there, and we look at each other and we drag each other down because the employer keeps looking and saying, well, these people make less. Why do you need a raise? Or these people barely make more than you, so we're just going to match them. What we need in healthcare is trailblazing contracts. We need unions to start trying to set trailblazing standards above and beyond what anybody thought was possible. That's where we need to be aiming. And we haven't been aiming like that for a really long time. And let's be real right now, this contract isn't even really about what percentage our raise is. This contract is about the future of public healthcare in Alberta. We know we've been struggling to retain and recruit healthcare workers, and that alone should tell you that our labor market is out of whack. We clearly aren't providing enough incentive for people to come to this career and to stay in this career. And people do primarily work for wages. So it's not just about us being compensated fairly. It's about making sure that we have a wage that will ensure that we have a robust, well-staffed healthcare system going forward into the future of this province and the future of our lives. That's what's really at stake here. And that's why I don't think we can settle and we can't accept any of this rhetoric about what's fair market value right now. We need to make our own value. We know what we're worth. It's really tough to put a number to the work that we do. Because like I said, we don't produce profit, but we have such a huge impact on people's quality of life. And it's really tough to put a number to that. And we know that recently we worked through a global pandemic that saw us put up with things that we never thought we would have to put up with when we got into this industry. And we answered that bell and we served this province well, and we did a lot of work and we paid the price for it. Both mentally, physically, emotionally. We're still dealing with the fallout of that as healthcare workers, everything we went through. The demands being placed on us right now are higher than ever, and we're still showing up day after day, providing excellent quality of care to these patients. We deserve to be compensated fairly, And it shouldn't matter what other underpaid healthcare workers across the country are getting paid. That's not the standard that we aim for. The standard that we aim for is to be far and away the best paid. We set that standard for the whole healthcare industry within this country. The last thing I want to leave you with is I want to talk about our capacity for hope. I think that this is something that we've lost a lot over recent years. We're so used to settling, we're so used to just accepting what's good enough that we've kind of forgot what it's like to dream big. We forgot what it's like to believe that change is possible, that we can get that trailblazing contract. And when you give up your capacity for hope, you're just giving way to despair. And when you give way to despair, you're betraying your future. We're not going to just be handed a great contract. We have to fight for it, and we have to believe that we're capable of fighting for it. So I really encourage you to think about some of the arguments you're hearing right now about how to vote on this contract. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed that if we vote no, we're going to get a better contract. Nothing's guaranteed in this world. But our only hope of getting a better contract is if we vote no and continue to fight. And I'll be voting no for that reason.